let's get started. This is the July issue of The Magic and Wisdom of Essential Oils. And Joseph and I are very excited today because we have one of my super good friends, colleagues, and sweet, sweet, sweet person, Kelly Ablard, and PhD, author, teacher, ecologist, executive director of Armid Institute. Like, you wear a lot of hats, Kelly, and you are always on the go. There's no way I could keep up with you. But we're here to talk today about something really special to your heart. And you shared a little bit of it with us in our NAHA family, the National Association for Holistic Aromatherapy. And it has some deep traditions. And we're going to talk about Palo Santo.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I smudged my room here in my computer this morning, mostly so that the computer gods would be good and get my computer running today.
The sacred computer tree oil. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I need a new computer. If anybody knows my story, I have a new computer sitting over here waiting, but this one is like on its last legs.
Uh-oh.
So we cross our fingers and do special dances before we turn it on in the morning.
So, two things, okay? Welcome, Kelly.
All right. Thank you very much.
And then I wanted to, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
And I want to do this under the influence, okay?
Under
so
the influence.
You have some Palo Santo, you could sage, like Angela did. If you have some of the essential oil, you could put it on a point, okay?
Let's do a point.
Yeah. And I have a flower essence of Palo Santo here. And what I'm going to do, okay, and you at home, I encourage you to play along, all right? I'm going to put a little bit on my fingertip right there. And then I'm going to move my,
go right in tongue.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Take a nice breath. And you can do this with the Palo Santo of your vivid imagination. You can do this with the Palo Santo of your recollection. You can do this with the Palo Santo of whatever you got.
Now, I want you to imagine while you have this oil on this point, I want you to imagine this Palo Santo entering this third eye chakra and pulling down, way down into your belly, through your hips and down into your legs and into your feet, and really grounding you to the Pachamama, to the Mother Earth. We are in the earth elements. We are in our summertime here in the Northern Hemisphere. And let's feel this earth beneath our feet, this rootedness through Palo Santo, this holy wood.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
You know, I get the
whoa.
I get the calming that I would put into the same part of the spectrum like I might get with frankincense. And it's in a related family. It's in the same family, just a related species. But what I find with Palo Santo is there's a little bit of there's a mystery. There's a little bit of trickster to it for me. I don't know exactly what that is. I have my speculations, of course, but when go ahead.
In that experience, I felt like I was in the heartwood. I felt like I was within that spiral of the Palo Santo. I felt so good.
And you got some good stuff.
It's good stuff.
Well, what I say to my students is, okay, so in Ecuador, or Peru, it's going to be around a fire that is used traditionally. And one of the traditional uses is to ward off evil or to clear the space. All right. Aligned with that, I think, is the traditional use of using it to ward off mosquitoes. And everybody knows mosquitoes are evil. So it's a really simple equation. Right. what I want to, Kelly, I got questions. I always got questions.
Good.
What is Armid? Okay, I got Armid Institute. You're the executive director. I've taken a look at the website. I have a sense of what you're doing, but why that name?
That name came to me years and years ago. It's a goddess. It's an Irish goddess. I don't know if you're familiar with Armid, but ultimately, her story leads her to be the protector of herbs and to bring life back to things that are dying. And so, in that respect, just to sum it up, I loved that name. I felt like I could really resonate with who this goddess is, and wanted to bring the idea of protecting those beautiful plants and trying to give life back to the ones that are threatened with extinction, that are struggling, to support them, and just to have that connection on that level. That's kind of where Armid came in. There's certainly some Irish running through these veins. There's no doubt about that. But that is ultimately where Armid came from. Yeah, in a nutshell.
I'm so glad I asked.
Me too.
So, Palo Santo. Okay, I'll do it this way. Where is your Palo Santo from?
My Palo Santo right here. This is my beautiful. I have quite a bit of it around me right now. I brought some back. It was gifted to me when I was just recently in northern Peru to go into the Casitas forest, where we find Palo Santo as a native species there, Bursera gravelens, just to clarify. And it's there that I work with one of the leading experts on Palo Santo reforestation projects, as well as working to sustainably harvest a certain technique that he intends to patent, actually. And it's through the National University of Tumbes that this work is being carried out. So that's where I got this Palo Santo recently. And it was we were talking about what we were thinking about when we were connecting with Palo Santo. And I love where both of you went with that. And with me, I was standing right again in front of the first tree, the first Palo Santo tree I met. It was right there in front of me. It just brought me right back to that spot. And I was very humbled. I'm used to seeing pictures of Palo Santo not being a very large tree, semi-large, but the ones in the dry forest can grow. I mean, they're quite tall and very full of life, and kind of like the picture that you have behind you, the painting rather. It's just they branch out and they're huge. They're just huge. I wasn't expecting that. It was a very humbling experience.
Mother trees, if you will.
Yes, yes. So that's where I have my beautiful stick right here from, and it's nice because the students at the university and the grandmothers in the little village nearby, they all work together to distill the Palo Santo, to plant the Palo Santo, protect it, and utilize it to not only for their own purposes. We know traditionally Palo Santo is a very, very sacred tree throughout parts of Latin America where you do find it. It is known as holy wood for a good reason. And so that respect, it's very important for, as you rightly mentioned, Joseph, warding off evil spirits and also as a repellent. And they also use it to bring good luck and to, protect the home, protect the person, the people, the animals. Yeah, it's very powerful, very powerful. And so, yeah, that's where it took me. And this is where I'm bringing to you today. Right back.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So where are the major areas, just to kind of get everybody a global perspective, where are the major areas where Palo Santo is cultivated, and where are the threatened areas where we're focusing globally?
That's a good question because for over a decade, there's been a real controversy around the conservation status of Palo Santo. And that had a lot to do with population numbers. Where are we finding it? Where are we losing this tree? And, we tend to find a lot of Palo Santo in northern Peru and in southern Ecuador. They kind of right there on the border. They share very similar territory and habitat. So you find it in southern Ecuador, you find it in northern Peru, and also in Mexico. And it was interesting because the IUCN assessment that was carried out on Palo Santo did in fact occur with populations in Mexico. And that was determined to be a species of least concern. Now, that status has been applied globally to the species. However, if you speak to my colleagues, for example, in northern Peru and even those in southern Ecuador, we are finding that, in fact, there are some major issues with not just, the problems with climate change. This is a dry forest, so it's dry to begin with, but now we're talking really dry. Right. And, you have issues with fire, you have drought, and you have, grazers coming in, and there's overgrazing issues. And so all of these things are impacting these particular areas. And overexploitation of the tree. People are looking to make money. They need to feed their families. And so they'll go in and actually cut these trees while they're still alive to utilize and sell the wood or try to create the oil from. Okay. And these particular areas, the ecosystem, particularly in the Tumbes region of the Casita Forest, that's considered one of the most endangered ecosystems in South America.
Right.
So if you think about that, that's where Palo Santo is. So it's going to suffer along with the other species because it's in that ecosystem.
Yeah. Let me see if I got this right. So the species in Mexico is of least concern. Okay. And it's Bursera graveolens. Okay.
Yes.
In Ecuador and southern Peru, we're not really sure how threatened it might be, but we do know that the dry forest, that particular habitat, is highly threatened.
Highly threatened, particularly in Peru. And as a matter of fact, in 2006, the Peruvian government came together and they had a report go out and they said, no, Palo Santo is in fact critically endangered. Which is one of the, that's being the closest to extinction a species can be, actually, if you think about it in terms of IUCN categorization. However, even though that's in 2006, we still have this feeling. They still treat the species as though this is what's happening. And you mentioned something, Joseph, about Mexico. Yes, same species, Bursera graveolens in Mexico. However, the conservation status as least concern applies to the species all over the globe. So this is where we have a little bit of a discrepancy. So the idea is just to bring awareness around the fact that, yes, there are many populations, very abundant populations of Palo Santo. It's more about the ecosystems that are failing and the issues with climate change. And of course, we do have problems with people coming in and tearing down these beautiful trees while they're still alive. And you talk about magic and the wisdom. This is what we're talking about here, this wonderful podcast. And I think for a lot of the indigenous people with Palo Santo, particularly the ones I was working with recently, the magic comes from the fact that you retrieve it after it's died. It's gone through that particular, transition in its form. And now that's where this essence becomes so powerful. And
it's a rebirth.
It's like a rebirth.
Rebirth cycle.
It's important to allow the sacred tree to do this.
Right.
And because it has this power after it's gone and, it's transitioned over, basically you have these really interesting oil composition that comes from that. And this is where some of the wisdom comes from. The wisdom of this tree, it's sacred because it's a healer and it's a protector and it's been around for so long. So the elders and the healers, they all believe that this is like a master teacher. It's a wise tree.
Right.
And it's a magic tree.
Yeah.
And so it's a sacred tree. And this is how you treat that tree. And if you don't do that, this is where the problem lies. As a matter of fact, I was speaking to my colleague. I should mention his name is Dr. Miguel Puescas-Chuli. And it's really when you have that disconnect, when you are using the wood in a way without recalling or understanding its value and its sacredness, that actually defeats the purpose. You know, you have to use it with intention and understanding where it's come from and what it's been through and what this means.
Yeah. So,
lots of things are churning through my brain right now, but part of this is the weaving, and of course this is the magic and wisdom here coming in. So Armid, who is this protector, this goddess, it's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg? Did Armid lead you to Palo Santo, or did Palo Santo come? I mean,
that is so interesting, because actually, you know what brought me to Palo Santo was rosewood. That is how I met Palo Santo. And rosewood came to me many years ago, and I was led in many ways. I had many doors open for me to pursue the work with rosewood, and I stepped in, never looked back, was supported, and have been protected on that journey ever since. And as we know, rosewood is also a beautiful Peruvian medicinal and aromatic tree that we're finding is facing extinction, and it grows in a different part or different type of habitat than rosewood, Palo Santo does. But they're still very much a part of the Peruvian country and Brazil and other parts of Latin America. But needless to say, I took the hand of rosewood, and rosewood introduced me to Palo Santo. And now this is where our work is very, very much solidified and has been for a long time.
So the literal or a literal translation, Palo Santo, wood sacred, okay?
Yes.
And in the sacred traditions, as I understand them, person, tree, habitat is actually one.
Yes.
And in commercial language, okay, particular species, particular country is always divided and separated from one. So your statement earlier about the sacred way of using it is to understand where you are in the oneness of that Palo Santo that's in your hands.
Yes.
Right? And to, I don't know the right word, but to transcend all the things that have cut it off or cut it away, that have taken the ecosystem and, I'm going to say, dumbed it down for commercial purposes.
Very much.
I have to work, I have to feed my kids, all that sort of stuff. So I love commercial purposes in many ways. And with the scale that we use, something that is an endangered resource or endangered habitat is quite likely to be exploited. And I'm going to use that there's a pejorative quality to that word, right? From the magic and wisdom of Palo Santo, as you know it, what's good use or what's remedy for that? That's a huge topic, by the way.
Yeah, there's education. There's, other programs that support those. Like, is there a food program so that they won't be going out and trying to feed their families so much? Is there
classically community development and reforestation?
So bringing in the local community is very important, and educating, as Angela rightly pointed out, working with the local people and teaching them what's going on, explaining to them what's happening. For many people that live in these areas, they already have that understanding, but there is still illegal trafficking, and there is a problem with exploitation and over-exploitation. So it's about education. That's always where we want to start. And the university is working to bring students at that level in so that they're aware of what's going on, because they will be the future protectors of these areas. And finding work, giving them jobs in order to help protect the ecosystem, help with the sustainable harvesting, help with the distillation of the essential oil, help with the making of the products from the essential oil. Give them a job where it supports the tree, they learn how to protect it, and it helps provide some revenue and stability within the communities.
Right.
Yeah, and so this is something that they've been working on for quite some time in northern Peru with Palo Santo. And I know Ecuador does some other things as well. Very similar, though, very similar situation where the local communities are doing the harvesting and the distillation. And it's, men and women are involved in that in both areas, by the way, in Ecuador and Peru, which is nice. And, we find particularly in where I've been in central Peru working with some of the indigenous people, a lot of the youngsters are ready to kind of go out into the big cities and, kind of integrate with everybody at a different level. But we need a lot of the indigenous youngsters to retain that traditional ecological knowledge, to connect with their land and to still represent it in a way where it can be protected. And so a lot of the work is really with the indigenous communities. Really, that's where it starts, because the problem with Palo Santo, it is a global issue. A lot of people don't understand that, don't even know about the conservation status of this tree, but they just understand, even though it's least concern or not, that's a moot point. They want the wood, they want the oil, they want to use it in their meditations, they want this, and that. But that's a problem because it's being, traded at an alarming rate. And we don't really know how it's being sourced. They don't have the knowledge to know maybe that it should really have been from a tree that has died naturally, or the branches fell off naturally, or things like that.
Yeah, I don't know if I buy my Palo Santo at some store or,
Exactly.
I don't,
How
it
would you
doesn't
know?
say on the labeling or anything that this was sustainably sourced from a tree that had already, died.
Died, yes. I mean, how would you know? And how would you know to ask? And so, yeah.
Yeah.
What suggesting what we're asking for, I think, is that rather than a consumer, I'm going to consume this product, or consumerist approach, one where we understand that this plant, this oil, this wood, we could be an ally with it. It could be an ally
Absolutely.
for us. And that's a different relationship.
It is. I like that. And when you have an ally, you respect your ally. You're very careful how you treat your ally, right? You maintain that harmonious balance right there. And these plants, rosewood, Palo Santo, anything that we utilize, they are our allies. Allies.
Can the governments of Peru and Ecuador go back and challenge with that organization that their situation is unique with the way they've done this status? It's negatively affecting them. Can they, jury to them to change that?
That's a great question. They can certainly submit their own assessment. There's certain criteria and data that needs to be recorded in order to do that. And then it goes through a committee, and it can take some time for that status to change. However, there are surveys that are done on a regional or national level that also follow the IUCN criteria to carry out the assessment. So in our last conversation, the idea was to think more about updating the local, like the national status, for example, in Peru, and then to work on maybe readdressing the global assessment. Armid does put out a biannual list where there is just a section, and this is all of the medicinal and aromatic plants that we're utilizing in our work as aromatherapists, TCM, perfumers, that we tend to rely on, not just plants, but also animal fixatives and things like that. But from a global perspective and a national, we want to draw from both of those things.
Right.
And so that is where we're starting. And as it stands right now, at least in Peru, they've got the 2006 status where they're holding on to that. They're They're working from that angle. They're not working from the most recent IUCN least concern. No,
Right.
no. Good question, Angela, and it is being addressed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, one of the tricks of that, and we have Ecuador and Peru, okay? We kind of have a close to home example of how governments can change dramatically and I'm going to just say cataclysmically in a short period of time.
Yes.
All right. And so the governmental organizations and then quote unquote the non-governmental organizations, the community development, the reforestation programs that are locally and even possibly indigenously rooted, I will use that term. I think it's very important to know about that. The context of the national government is a context, but even closer to the resource, even closer to the roots of the tree, right? And I know what in being an ecologist, my growing edge is what's called coevolution, okay? And you mentioned that there are people that someone's looking for a patent as far as the propagation of Palo Santo.
The harvesting of it, yes.
Yeah. Traditional harvesting, it's dead wood, we pick it up. Okay. Commercial harvesting, let's cut the tree down and see what we can get out of it now. All right. So this is actually evolving that traditionally the trees were worked with, lived with, and appreciated, not cultivated in a modern sense. Okay. And so we're bringing cultivation into this. I think it's an extremely powerful, good thing. I think it's part of the healing of this time with nature is we learn how to work with, okay, and encourage. That piece, I think, in what you were talking about earlier, it draws me the most. How do I, as a acupuncturist that uses essential oils in my practice, I also use hydrosols, I also use flower essences, but green medicine. I don't know, I don't want to say the best question, but what are ways I can find out? I mean, I get that Armid Institute is a source of information, okay? How do I find out? How do I become part of this co-evolution? How do I be a good ally?
Yeah.
Sometimes I think that starts in our own gardens. You know, I remember growing up, and when we would take drives with my grandpa, Sunday was always pack a picnic and go drive someplace and have a picnic. And he would point out trees. He'd say, "That's a sentinel tree." You know, and so what it did is it planted curiosity. And from that curiosity, then I wanted to learn more about that tree or that plant that he would point out when we were at, oh, that's a milkweed pod. That's where the monarch butterflies lay their eggs, or something like that. So we can start this relationship. We can start this healing in our own backyard gardens. Find something that in your area is maybe endangered or in trouble, or for me, it's the pollinators are in trouble. So I'm always talking to neighbors about using Roundup and not using Roundup. And here's a recipe for a different insecticide. So I'm planting plants that are going to be attracting the pollinators. Unfortunately, they attract slugs and snails too, but so where does this begin exactly? And then how can we extend that with institutes like yours, Kelly?
Well, I like this idea of, how do we become this ally, and and I like the idea of starting in the garden. Reconnecting with nature to begin with, really opening our eyes and seeing it. There is something known as nature deficit disorder. It's a very real thing where, because of urbanization over the years, the numbers are alarming of how many people aren't even aware of what's literally growing on their own street. They just don't even see it anymore. So there is that element. That ally has to come from just recognizing it's there to be an ally too, first of all. And then I also think that we as humans connect on a very fundamental level. We all share something. We all feel similar things. We all experience life in similar ways. We have to build a narrative. We have to show people who's behind this Palo Santo. Who are the people that have been the allies for the hundreds and hundreds of years and who have been working with this tree so respectfully and as protectors and really understanding it. We should know these people because they carry that knowledge. So it's really connecting us to them. And through them, we can also learn about the tree and know how to be the best friend, the best protector.
Right.
So it's connecting to the indigenous people.
Yeah.
This is my thought, because with indigenous communities, as we know, many Western scientists are relying on this, what I call traditional ecological knowledge. Well, that's not what I call it. That's what it's known as, or tech rather, to find out information on how we can better meet the challenges of climate change, for example. We're going back to the roots. We're going to the indigenous communities. And of course, some of the most biodiverse, rich parts of the planet still with us today have the majority of indigenous people living on those parts of the earth. So we have to work with them. We have to build the connection. So with Rosewood, in my work, I have worked with the Shipibo people, and Angela knows very well through their embroidery, through having one of the Shipibo elders come and speak in the U.S. and having that connection. Aha! Now people want to protect Rosewood in a different way. They've always intended to, but now they're a real friend. And they're going to do what they can to protect the Shipibo, because protecting the Shipibo also helps protect this tree.
Right.
So allies, I think we ally through narrative and through understanding and through looking at the people and that knowledge that they hold. It's powerful.
We have an interesting situation here with the Chinook, because we are on unceded Chinook territory. And I mean, where my house sits right here along the Nicoxie Creek is very close to the summer camp for the Chinooks, when they would come here and get the crab and the clams and do their drying their fish and everything. But our Fish and Wildlife Department and the restoration, it's a coalition. I can't remember the whole name of it, but they work with the Chinook to restore the salmon habitat here. And the indigenous people are very much a part of that. And, you know, you can feel it. If you're aware at all, when you're in these areas, you can feel it. Like, I go down to Little Beach, and right now the sea beans are ripe at the tide line. And I'm out there picking, and I'm just, even when I did the rose harvest, you know, looking over this land and thinking, did these indigenous people pick from these same plants? Did they, you know, it's like, oh, wow, you feel honored, number one, to be on their land, and number two, to be picking and foraging things that they most likely picked and foraged too. So you feel like you're carrying on that tradition, or you're honoring it in some way, encouraging that plant to, you know, come back the next year, or, you know, produce the seeds it needs to move forward. So, you know, we can feel like that in our own communities if we go and find those opportunities with wherever you can find them.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the old sayings, think globally, act locally.
Yeah.
Right. And another, it's like, you are where you live. It's all sacred land.
Absolutely.
And it doesn't mean, you know, there's also bloom where you were planted. Okay. Because you might move from a place that you lived before. But that getting to understand, interact, or have a conversation with the life ways of the traditional medicine or the indigenous practices, again, as an ally, not in a what is the term? Not co-opting a particular tradition. Let me do it this way. In the burning of Palo Santo sticks, that can be a very trendy thing.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I want to clear my space. I want to purify. But it has to go further. I hope it goes further, because where did those Palo Santo sticks come from?
There we have it. That's exactly right.
You know,
Where did they come from?
how do I, what's the traditional medicine of that? How
Mm-hmm.
do I encourage? How do I ally with that? Um, Not just because I could get 10 of them for $6.98 on Amazon.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And there might be a fantastic distributor, producer, all that's represented on that particular website. Okay. How would I know? First, I
Yeah.
probably have to look.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, so I guess speak to that one. You have contact on land, inland with land tenders,
Mm-hmm.
with the indigenous and even the non-indigenous
Mm-hmm.
locals.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the thing is often what are the best practices, and it kind of drives me crazy, because I don't necessarily want the best. I want to know how to connect. I want to
Yeah.
know how to have a relationship,
Yeah.
uh, respectful, informed. There's even aspects of informed consent, but also there's an alive, embodied, like I am related to this. It is related to me, and I encourage that. Um, I guess part of this is just a salute to you, and the work you and Armid
Oh.
are doing for that. Um, and the for our audience, we've got people that are into the magic and wisdom of essential oils. We love the lore, LORE, of the
Mm-hmm.
product. Okay. Um, Share some of your lore, with, again, Palo Santo that you have, and you said it was given to you.
Yes.
I love this because giving is really different in an indigenous perspective than it is in a Western perspective.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
uh, can you say something about that gift?
I it's more than just a gift. Yes, I don't know how exactly to put words. It's more of a feeling. It's a connection to the people, first and foremost, believe it or not, through the gift. And it's a reminder of our work together and what it is that we need to do to protect this species. It has created a bond, really. I mean, we're bonded through this ally of ours. And I don't even know. I have some of it here and I don't even know if I could burn it really just yet.
Ah,
Yeah, it's just, I just admire it and I smell it and I think about the work that needs to be done. So my intentions are a little, maybe I use it differently,
mhm.
in some respect. But, having bought it versus having been given by somebody like Dr. Chuli and in that environment and seeing the people that work with it is something I'll cherish my whole life.
Right.
And I still have rosewood that was gifted to me over 12 years ago that I just love. It's just like precious. It's like a diamond or however a gem would be to some people. That's what it is for me.
It's an altarpiece.
Totally. So much respect. And what it does is I go right back to the people and the land,
The story, the life.
story, the life, the smells, the food, the heat, the animals in the dry forest, the messages that Palo Santo, through the medicine that it gives and how it's affected these different women who were working with it and trying to protect it and what it means for their communities. It's like I see a different picture.
Hmm, hmm.
you know? Um, and the thing about it too, and we were talking, that the nice thing about, and this goes back to what Angela was saying about going into your garden,
Hmm.
the development of this idea is that they hold the sacred tree, having the magic and the wisdom.
Right.
We could take species within our own communities, and it can have that magic and they can have the wisdom, right? It's what you create that to be. It's how, your relationship with this beautiful plant or tree. Okay. And so when you were mentioning, sorry, about Amazon, buying Palo Santo, of course, that's where we can get our smudge sticks, white sage, Salvia apiana, horribly overexploited the world over. Big problem with that. But so we're like, well, use the rosemary in your garden. Find another beautiful plant that burns lovely that you can wrap with intention and dry. Yeah, right. I mean,
What's the sacred tree in your neighborhood?
in mine?
No, in anyone's neighborhood.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Then in a hyper urban neighborhood, can you grow a house plant? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you have a relationship with green medicine, where you water it, not necessarily daily, but on some regular basis, and you probably end up talking to it.
You probably do. And this is the great thing about also community gardens, because, with so much urbanization, this allows people to at least go and see other things that are growing or maybe get their hands in dirt for, when I had a garden at your fingernails, getting that dirt in there and having that, and it smells so good. And we know that that's very healthy for you. We know this. Science has taught us this. But I remember when I was working at the college, I started a apothecary garden, and I had troubled youth actually that had come in to be involved in the garden, had never seen any of it, rosemary, basil. We were just growing common herbs along with some more, exotic medicinal and aromatic plants. But they were completely taken aback by that. And that was their only connection to the medicine. And therefore, they just grew this beautiful relationship with it. One morning, I got there quite early, and one of the kids that was kind of resistant to the whole thing was out there watering before I even got there, taking care of the plant, right? And that was in a very urbanized Vancouver's,
right.
city. So, going into nature, whether it be your backyard, a community garden, whatever that may be, an indoor house plant, looking at it, seeing it, nurturing it, you do form a relationship. And I do think people talk to their plants, and they have shown too that there's some evidence that that's a good thing. Some nice classical music could be good too, from what I understand. Well, I don't know.
One of the gifts of the green is that for us, we can ingest them, and they give themselves to that. Okay. And so I can ingest them visually. I can ingest them by walking, by doing qigong in the middle of a redwood forest. The modern world wants us to limit the choices to something that we could buy quickly and get delivered tomorrow.
Yes.
Okay. And plants are not really good on delivering tomorrow until it's the day called harvest. All right. So the pace, the speed, and I'll say the utter lack of relationship with the living world, that fuels virtual commerce, I'll put it that way. And a lot of people are making inroads. A lot of people are trying to make relationship happen. You're well representing that information and education, as you said, Angela. I like what we're coming here, because it's like we're gonna, folks, at the end of the day, grow your own. Okay.
We can preserve them in clay.
Oh, that's beautiful, by the way.
Keep them forever.
Yeah. It's sacred play.
Yep.
May I say something to that, Joseph? Because I like that idea, and something else to bear in mind. Yes, your own. Create your own. Create your own. And I also want to say that, if you really do want to connect with Palo Santo on that level that we've been talking about, do so in a way where, you are able to really make that connection and understand that by your connecting to the Palo Santo or your purchasing of the Palo Santo goes back to protecting the tree in the local communities, that's a very good thing. And in that respect, I would say find that narrative, support that relationship, because that gives back. That gives back. But we find that there is that disconnect where people aren't doing that. And then it just kind of goes, So you have to understand. Yeah.
Right.
You know, because a lot of people, like with rosewood, it's endangered and they say, well, we're never going to use it again. This plant is off our list. And yes, I really encourage everybody to take caution, really err on the side of caution when they're sourcing rosewood. But equally, there are programs, just like with Palo Santo, where by purchasing them, it's actually doing a world of good, you know? But even more good for you if you understand what that's all about and how you're helping. And that's where you make that alliance, right? But I think that people have to just start by looking in their own backyard and just get your own thing going, look and see what's back there, work with it, you know, read about the rosemary that you just ate in your dish, figure out what that's about, and understand that this is something that's a powerful medicine and has been used in medieval times. And my goodness, we know that the Greeks were writing about this, right? I mean, this is medicine that goes back thousands of years as well, has a place in our history, and also as a protector. Right? And
I
you
have
mentioned
it soaking in apple cider vinegar right now to make this
perfect.
beautiful tincture of, you know, for respiratory health and joint health, you know, going through fall and winter. So yeah,
I
there's lots
love
of
that,
things.
Angela. And something that Joseph said earlier about burning the Palo Santo and how it protects you from evil spirits and bad things, right? And that being mosquitoes, right? That's included. You're right about that. But the same kind of thing with white sage, right? We're burning that. And then of course they found out that the smoke actually kills bacteria in the air. So it is keeping away that evil, that sickness, that it can help with that.
Airborne
So
diseases are fought in the air.
yes, but there's other plants that are growing here that does the same thing,
Sure.
right?
Right.
Okay.
That's why I mentioned rosemary.
Yeah,
Okay.
right, exactly.
Like,
Rosemary is a beautiful analog to white sage in this respect.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I walked a lady through my garden yesterday, a member of our Unitarian Fellowship, and she's probably in her 70s. She helps us run the drum circle, the women's, and that's another aspect of connecting too. Is I am part of the uh, Spirit of Mother Earth drum circle, and we drum the native powwow songs. And I didn't know any of
Wow.
these songs before we started drumming, but when I picked up that drum, the words came
Oh,
from
how
within.
beautiful.
So
Wow.
there's spirit in all of us. It's finding a way to connect, and maybe that's a plant.
Beautiful.
But she didn't know a lot of the plants in the yard or their medicinal uses. And we talked a long time about mugwort because we're going to dry some
Oh,
because
love
we
it.
will sprinkle the mugwort on the drum before we. And this is a huge drum that came from a tribe in Canada, and that five of us can fit around the drum and drum. And drumming for that spirit to come through is really powerful. And I think it affects the land around us in that resonance. So find something that resonates with you to um, to learn more about, to delve into its depths. It's not just an oil in a bottle. Where did that come from?
Right,
What does
right.
that plant look like? Who do the people look like that harvest this
Yes,
plant? And
yes, yes.
we experienced a little bit of that when we interviewed Dan from Nature Packaged, and he goes to these places as well. And it's so fascinating. And you have, Kelly, you have other allies within Armid. So you cultivate people too to in
Yes,
parts of the world. So
yes.
can you share a little snippet of that? Like what other parts of the world are there these people who are wanting to do the same work that you do?
Well, well, Yes, we do have global representation in about 27 countries now.
Mhm.
And all the ambassadors have their own style and their own way of supporting our mission. And of course, our mission is to protect medicinal and aromatic plants and their use in traditional medicine for future generations. For example, our ambassador of Greece, Anna Papazoglou, she's working on the ground because there's a lot of endemic species, particularly on the island of Crete, which
Mhm.
is a very, very, it's one of the top biodiversity hotspots. A lot of endemic species there. So she works to look at the Greek local conservation statuses, and she can translate them. She can relay that to us. We can share that information. We do have an event in Crete this year where we're going to bring awareness to those beautiful medicinal and aromatic plants. What are the impacts of, the different challenges they're facing? And of course, how were they used traditionally in Greek medicine? How do we use them today? How are they used in clinical settings? What is the spiritual connection? So we try to work with our ambassadors on that level, find out what plants are being threatened, what animal species are being threatened. For example, in Africa, there was a situation for a while, not anymore, but with the civet and we get a beautiful aromatic from civets, and that species was in fact on the threatened list for quite a while. And finding out ways that they actually don't have to cage the animals, but they roam free and they collect the scent just by following them and picking it up without, very non-invasive techniques.
Right.
So this is how we learn through our ambassadors. We need people on the ground to find out the information, to represent, to translate, to get the word out there. We have education programs that have been successful for you very young children, finding a local medicinal and aromatic plant. For example, Roman chamomile in the United Kingdom that was on Q's top 5 of being threatened, believe it or not. The wild Roman
Right.
chamomile. So these young kids, they're junior ambassadors, we call them. They got their little badges. They're teaching about the plants. They're growing it at the school. So we do education. We have people that are getting evidence-based research and translating it for us, out there actually implementing work. In Lebanon, Dr. Boukalil is working to find a path, get a path formed with the Lebanese walking committee, I think it is, or something like this. I apologize if I didn't say that correctly, but to form a path where people can, like a trail where you can learn about the local plants, that kind
Mhm.
of thing. So,
Walk it.
everybody's doing something a little different.
Oh yeah, I love Nicole. She's
Mhm.
great. Yeah,
Oh, she's lovely. Yeah, she's been doing wonderful work. Yeah. So we're very blessed in this way.
that's
Um,
great. So on the Armid Institute website, people can find out about this program in Crete. Are there still some spaces left?
Yes, we have about 6 spaces left right now.
Okay.
And the event is October 17th through the 19th. You can go to the study abroad section on Armid's website and read all about the presenters. We're going to have permaculture design. We're going to have guided meditation, chair yoga. We've got all kinds of good stuff. We have a walk
Right.
on a beautiful farm, medicinal and aromatic plant tour. Very good stuff.
No, that's great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's other resources. Yeah, we can always contact us.
Great. We will include in our recording the when we send the email out to the link to the Armid Institute if anybody wants to check that out. And you can also submit other questions if you are watching this recording. Summer's busy time. Everybody's out and about, and I've got a picnic to go to later, and all
Oh,
kinds of
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It's
So
a Saturday morning, and yep, it's summer.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we have all the time we need in the next 6 minutes.
yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Mm.
One thing I want to do, both of you. Um, so there's a local community garden here where I am. It's in Sacramento. I'm in West Sacramento, technically. All right.
Mhm.
Confluence Gardens, 3 acres, organic, little
Mhm.
redwood forest. It was basically road beside the levee that my friend Judy Trethway and her husband started cultivating, bringing in spirits, planting trees, building house about 40 years ago. Um, yeah, you know,
Amazing.
I'm never as close to spirit as when I'm in the garden.
Of course.
Uh,
Yeah, I
so
understand totally.
you're invited, okay?
Oh, I would
You can
love that.
leave,
Thank you.
okay? Uh,
I
but
would love going there.
when I was teaching rosemary essential oil one time, I went into the garden. I laid down under the rosemary and I looked up through it and just watched the bees coming and going and the whole coevolution of the bee and the flower, the rosemary flower. And they go in and the stamens come and
Yes.
go out. And I was like, uh, it was an education, okay?
Of
I
course.
was literally
Yes.
grounded, okay? But I
Yeah.
would like to invite you both there. Angela, I'm going
Thank
to get up
you.
to see you sometime. Um, Kelly, I think I want to be an ambassador. I'll find out more about
Oh,
it.
you're very kind.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. I mean,
We'll see how we can
I can be
partner.
diplomatic, okay? I can
I,
be.
I think so. Yes, you are certainly diplomatic. Yes, you are, and your heart is in the right place. We always want to represent, where we're in alignment with our thinking and our goals. And yeah, and certainly you and Angela are just, it's been lovely chatting with you both because I just feel like I'm in very good company and we just share so many similar ideas and thoughts and our actions. We walk on a similar path.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's important just as well energetically because we talk in acuaromatherapy, it's about the energetic frequency of the
Mm.
and if we are in the right frequency with other like-minded people, that elevates the vibration. And
Mhm.
so it's all part of that big plan.
So well said, Angela. That's a really good point. And I love that you reminded me actually, because the energetics are very important for the indigenous communities that I've worked with.
Right.
And the conduit between the physical and the spirit is typically through an aromatic.
It is.
So that's the energy. It's the aromatic. And aromatics are very, very important. They have a
Hmm.
language of their own in these communities. And so, yes, the energetics.
Right. And I don't know, maybe it's archetypal. The tree of life,
Yeah.
the aromatic tree of life, the connection of heaven and earth, the
Yes.
rootedness, the aged wisdom, the spiral that you alluded to earlier, Angela.
It's part of
Armid, yeah, I was just gonna go there. I think the goddess is alive and magic is afoot.
it. Hmm.
Ah, I love to hear that. Yes. I love
Yes.
that actually.
And the magic and wisdom is afoot.
The magic and the wisdom is afoot. Yes, I'm very much grateful to just be on the journey and to be able to support where and when I can.
Right.
Um, I couldn't do this without all of the supporters, people like yourselves and our members and our donors and our colleagues.
Hmm.
It just is a good reminder when we're sometimes going through troubled times that there is a great, very big community out there ready to do some very heavy work and to protect our green medicine. Yeah. And our indigenous communities.
Yeah. And no matter what's going on in the political arena
Yes,
or
that's
what
right.
Yeah,
rules they're setting or,
Yeah.
status, we
yeah.
can keep doing the work.
We can keep doing the work and we will keep doing the work.
That's
That's
the
one of the
growing
things that I realized, like going through COVID, what COVID had taught me was that, even although all of this other stuff is going on, and even now
Hmm.
politically, the trees are still there rooted by the creek. The tide still keeps coming in and out. The
Yeah,
birds still sing in the morning and the evening. They don't know any different.
that's right.
They just carry on. And so should we.
I
Let's just
love
carry
that.
on.
That's beautiful, Angela. I, I love that. That needs to go on your website or something. You need to put that. I really know. I love that. I think that's very well said. And you're right about that. And that's part of that connection with nature, isn't it? It's really about being one with nature. It's, and that's exactly what you're talking about. You see that. Your eyes are open to it, and that's what you're choosing to connect with and just allow and just continue to do the work. Do what we can every day.
That's why we have the garden out front. That's why we have the poetry post, because if somebody's walking by and they're having a bad day, I'm always going to invite them in.
So
Hey,
nice.
would you like to taste a nasturtium? They're in bloom right now. Oh, this rose is amazing. Have a little smell of it. There's
So
some
nice.
raspberries that are ripe. Would you like one? You know,
That is so
whatever it
nice.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Medicine. Food is medicine. Kindness is medicine. The earth is medicine. I mean, we're just
Oh,
surrounded
yeah.
by it,
Movement
right?
is medicine. Laughter
Yes.
is medicine. Hey, that's
Laughter, all of it, right?
yeah.
Yes. So that's nice of you, Angela, to do that. Very good.
Yeah.
Well, the universe put us in the right spot to be able to do that. So,
And the time's
Lovely.
really ripe too.
yeah. So, one last question. What is inspiring us now? Joseph, what's inspiring you now?
Oh my God. Inspire me in a very broad spectrum way, because some of it I love and some of it is grinding. Where I live, I'm in a 55 plus community, and I got a single wide trailer that I'm rehabbing. So I'm doing urban restoration,
Cool.
and my salvation is getting dirt under my fingernails by going outside and leaving all my projects alone for a while and watering and then repotting or whatever. I have immense relationships with spiders now, and I'm hoping to have less of them. So I'm inspired to action to make my habitat more friendly and alive. How's that?
Beautiful.
There you go. I love it. How about
I
you,
love
Kelly?
it.
What inspires you today, Kelly?
Well, this whole chat has been inspirational. And I would say what's inspiring me as of late is really just continuing the work. And, I've been more involved with the Shipibo and my colleagues up north and looking to build a school on Shipibo land. That's my inspiration right now. And getting this reforestation project underway. So though that's my inspiration, it's just the hope for a much better future in that respect. So,
Right.
yeah.
Well, keep us posted and let us know how we can help
Thank you.
to rally our community to build a
Thank
school.
you. Thank you. And what's your inspiration? What's inspiring you, Angela?
What's inspiring me? Well, as always, this time of year, the garden. But I'm also really in touch with nature, and we had 3 green herons visit us, and we've not seen green herons on the creek before.
Ah, nice.
A hawk came and sat in the beach pine and watched Kirby pick blueberries the other day. And just as we were talking, the new fledglings of Canadian geese are teaching their young to fly.
Oh.
So they did the flyby this morning. So
It's so great.
What's inspiring me is nature in its fullest, and just being in the middle of all that and feeling
so pretty.
Really like I'm a part of nature. That nature is not something separate from us, that we
is
remind
correct.
ourselves every day that we are nature.
I love that, Angela. Yes, we are part of this ecosystem. We are animals. We are animals. So I love that you are self-aware in this way. Yeah, we need more of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not us and them.
Yeah.
We.
Right now, I'm trying to get them to extend the riparian zone from 50 feet to 150 feet.
Good.
So we can save some more of our spruce trees along the creek.
Wonderful.
And there was a property that was sold that's going to be taking down 29 of our old trees. So we're trying to maybe go in and teach them why they shouldn't do that.
Yeah, that's a lot of work, but I know you'll succeed. You'll get there. Let us know how we can help, Angela, as well.
We have Sharon on our
Sharon's a good one. So. Please let Sharon know I said hello.
I will.
Give her a hug for me.
I will.
Along with the hellos, it's probably time we said goodbye.
Yes. We're going to share some energy I'm going to put a drop of Palo Santo in my palm,
Excellent idea.
and I'm going to rub that, and we're going to send the energy of Palo Santo. All right, Ellie, coming your way. Can you feel
Ooh,
it?
thank you.
See? This is proof that there's distance healing, okay? Because I can feel it.
I can feel
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Wow, I can feel that. Thank you very much.
All right, stay safe, my friends.
Thank you, you too, and thank you for this lovely chat today. It was so nice. I appreciate being here today.
So get the recording to you and share with others.
Yes.
And stay connected.
Please.
Bye-bye
Thank
now.
you. Bye.
Have a tremendous day. A tremendous day.
Okay,
Tremendous
thank you.
day.
Tremendous. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Wow.